So joined now by Joe Garry, looking ahead to Sunday's round 4 clash in Division 3 with Laois and Zimmer Biomet Páirc Chiosóg. So is the banner off the mark now? A good win over Fermanagh last weekend and something to build on heading into this weekend.
Oh, no question, Dara. It was hugely important that Clare got not only the win, points on the board are obviously essential, but the win, it will mean such a lot to the players, particularly to Paul Madden, his first National Football League win as well. But it was so important for the players because there's been aspects of both rounds, round 1 and round 2, that Clare will be very happy with. But unfortunately, had nothing to show for it on the table. So the win was essential, and hopefully now it'll carry good momentum forward to this weekend.
And especially when you look at those first 2 rounds, a fairly decent performance in both games, but against what would probably be considered the 2 strongest teams in the group, to put in a good performance and now have a win on the board as well. It's a good building block.
Well, it is, yeah, but only time will tell whether they turn out to be 2 teams that get promotion or not. But they're definitely going to be in the mix, Westmeath and Down. Fermanagh, on the other hand, where they're likely candidates, I have to say, for relegation at the moment, given that they're 0 from 3. Clare only just ahead of them, but the fact that we went in Enniskillen and get a win up there, I can't remember when we won up there last. And the manner of the performance, because let's make no bones about it, 5 minutes or 6 minutes into the second half, we were under the cosh. The Fermanagh had reversed a 3-point interval deficit into a 2-point lead, and were controlling almost all of Clare's kickouts. But in fairness to the players, they responded well. The leader stood up, and the goal was a telling score. Daniel Walsh's goal, after great work from Dermot Coughlin, it was a telling score in the second half. But it was the manner and the character that the lads showed, epitomised, I felt, by the man of the match, Brendan Rowan, who just put in an outstanding performance. And Clare deservedly, held on to the lead once they had wrestled control back. They deservedly held on. And as I say, go forward now with much to build on. Not to improve on as well, but much to build on for Sunday.
Yeah, and I suppose at the start of that second half, you were kind of getting flashbacks to that game in Newry where Clare were right there with them and let it get away from them in the second half. But the finish, particularly that final quarter, 1-3 to no score, I think it finished in the last 15 minutes or so. Real positive signs from that forward line.
Real positive signs, and I think you got 1 goal and 12 points from the Aaron Griffin and Mark McInerney duo. But it was not only that, it was the manner from all the way back. Alan Sweeney made some tremendous blocks in the last quarter to deny certain scores for Fermanagh. Ronan Lanigan, I thought, was outstanding. He's certainly a contender for man of the match, and did everything he did it well, and did, burst forward and had a huge part in the opening goal. But constantly was that reassuring sense. And remember, you lost your 6, you lost your 8 in the middle of the field with Darragh Bohannon and Killian Rowan both going off injured, and those 2 will be a major concern if they can't play. It just means now a reshuffling of the deck. But Brennan had come in, he made a big difference. I thought Conor Meany had a fine game when he came in. Everybody that contributed at all to that victory, I think it'll mean a huge amount in terms of their confidence going forward, because let's make no bones about it, Laois are coming to town looking for points as well. This is dog eat dog in Division 3, and this one, you would imagine, like all Division 3 games, will go right down to the wire, so the panel will play a big part.
Yeah, and it's hard to know what to expect from Laois looking at their results. They've beaten Sligo, and then you look at the 2 games against the promoted sides, a draw with Limerick and a heavy defeat to Wexford. It's kind of a mixed bag for them so far this year.
It's a mixed bag, but they also, remember, have to meet now Westmeath and Down, 2 of the forerunners, so they will know they have to pick up points quick, and 3 points won't keep anyone in the division. It looks as if Fermanagh are going to be one of the 2 that will fulfil that, but they will obviously have designs on picking up points as well. But in the next couple of games, Clare play Limerick, Laois, Wexford. They're all around us in there. So, whoever can win those games, they're not simply worth the 2 points or the momentum they bring. They're worth really 2.5, because you'll have a team on the head-to-head. Clare can still make that 10-point mark as we've done in the last 2 seasons. It's still possible, but obviously will require 2 points on Sunday.
Yeah, and you look at the table now, and although Down are 3 from 3, that there's no runaway team so far. You look at second place Wexford on 4 points, and then Clare, albeit in 7th, 2 points, only 2 points away. I still firmly fixed on promotion from this position.
Well, yes, you have to look up the table. There's no point looking back over your shoulder. You have to look up the table, and you feel that there's 10 points still on offer, and Clare can get to that. We've done in the last 2 seasons. But remember, in these divisions, as is always the case, 6 or 7 points might see you relegated. 6 has done in the past to seen a team relegated. Indeed, 7 has seen a team relegated, whereas 7 or 8 might see a team in the promotion challenge. So every point is vital. It'll be fought for tooth and nail, and hopefully now we'll have a big crowd in on Sunday to shout on the lads. They deserve that. Their performance when their backs were to the wall above in Brewster Park, spoke volumes for the character and the resilience these lads have and the ambition that they have, and hopefully that will be rewarded further on Sunday.
I know you've got some quality players in the division. You look at the likes of Pat Haven for Down, but I suppose the overall forward unit for Clare, and even you've got some players who've come expected to play in the forwards in the last couple of years, are now lining out at wing back. And you look at the last day, 11 points in the full forward line, 2-4 from the half forward line. Is this forward line strong in terms of a cohesive unit to get them over the line in comparison to the rest of the teams in the division?
Well, I think every team will fancy themselves. The target in general, Dara, is about 25 points. And Clare only reached 20 in their first two games and got no points. We reached 24 the last day with 218. So obviously it put us in a winning position. So you really have to be hitting that mid-20s mark because every team is aiming for that. Westmeath reached it, Fermanagh or Down reached it. That's why they got victories over Clare. And, there was a time when 13 points or 14 points would get you a result, or 13 or 14 scores. Then it went up to 20 points a number of years ago. Now it's gone to 24 or 5 with the new rules. So that's the target you have to be hitting. And in order to hit that, you need at least 5 or 6 scorers on the field. Last day, Brian Mack kicked in with 2 from midfield. Obviously, your substitute came on, Shane Griffin kicked a point. So you need 4 or 5, 6 scorers to be hitting that mark. You won't always get, 112 from 2 players. So you just need to make sure that burden of scoring is shared, and thankfully the last day it was, I think, with 5 or 6 scorers on the board, and you would still feel that there's even more possibilities there. It doesn't matter who gets the scores, but really you have to make sure you're hitting that mid-20 mark.
And I suppose on Sunday you're back in the park now after what looked on paper, at least anyway, a poor start with 2 defeats from 2, albeit a fairly impressive performances at the same time along the way. But they've got that tough victory on the board now, and then Enniskillen back in front of the Banner faithful to drive them forward on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, and traditionally ourselves in Laois, we had a mighty battle with them up there in Port Laois last year. It didn't look good at half time, and the lads turned it around all the way to the bitter end, and it was Emmett steered it over the line, and obviously his loss has been felt as well, but hopefully we'll see him before the season is out. And you would expect something similar this weekend. There'll be no runaway victories in the contest in Ryan at 3. Everybody will fight tooth and nail for everything. So this one will go right down the wire, right down to the last couple of minutes, and hopefully there'll be a good, clear contingent in there to urge the lads over the line.
Yeah, I suppose you mentioned the couple injuries that are being contended with at the moment. You're looking at the squad that's there now, and maybe criticism in the last couple of years that there wasn't quite the depth there, but you're looking at the likes of Jamie Stack on the bench. There's real quality all the way through the subs bench in this team as well.
There is, and in fairness to Paul and Jaron and Shane Daniels, they're not afraid to go to the bench. And, the last day 4 or 5 subs used, we've seen that now over the course of the 3 games and even in the McGrath Cup. So, there will be a panel of 30, 35 players used throughout the league. And it's great to be getting players back. Killian Ruine's, influence in the team is telling. When he's playing at 6 in particular, he really does give a lot of go forward momentum to the side. And if Killian can't take his place on Sunday with that hamstring, well then it'll just mean to the next man in. And it was a mantra that Colm Collins had: next man in steps up. That'll be the same way now, I'm sure, with Paul, that there is a panel there for a reason. There's plenty of talent in that panel, and we will be stretched at times, certainly with injuries, but there's no reason to, there will be no excuses offered other than Clare going, full throttle for 2 points on Sunday. 2 points will carry that momentum forward, and it will mean then that we'll be going to Limerick, on the back of 2 wins, looking for a third to keep ourselves in the promotion race.
Thanks very much for that again, Joe, and I suppose we'll look forward to, as you mentioned earlier, another ding-dong battle with Laois in Division 3.
I expect so. All these games in Division 3, you saw Limerick had a fine win over Wexford the last day by a point. They rescued that with 2 scores in the dying seconds. So this one, expected to go right down to the last couple of minutes, and hopefully, as I say, a big Clare contingent to shout the boys home.